drinking Molson Excel, so that's how you know it's going to be a fun episode.
That's the pop aisle.
Mm-hmm.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
We all do what we got to do, right, buddy?
When I used to work at a convenience store and people would buy Molson Excel, I used to ask for their ID just to fuck with them. You'd be amazed how many people got pissed at that.
Really?
Oh, people get mad when you ask them for their ID in a store. Like even cigarettes, people would be like, "But I'm 32," and you're like, "Well, you look young. Feel good about yourself. Your skin's great." Like,
and I make $8 an hour, and they tell me to do it, and I don't really have a choice right now. So
I think I honestly made $8 an hour. I think you hit that on the head for what I was making back then.
I remember, and this fits in with Scotty coming on today. When I was living in Nova Scotia, I got a job at Canadian Tire there when I was at university, because I worked at Canadian Tire in high school back here, and minimum wage is way lower there. So I was making like almost $9, I think, in Ontario, and then the same job, it was $5.45 or something in Nova Scotia back then. I was like, what? It's the same gig, same company, right? It is what it is. But minimum wage, good times.
We've all been there.
Yeah, buddy. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
I did my time at Canadian Tire. I did my time at Blockbuster Video.
Same here. Blockbuster Video, Tim Hortons, convenience store.
The what?
Got a lot of minimum wage.
What was the other last one there?
Convenience store.
Oh, like you wanted to be clerks, eh? You wanted to be what's his name?
I very much was Dante and Randall in one package. I didn't have a fun buddy I got to work with.
Yeah, but you also went to film school too. So you're what's his name?
Oh, Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith. Yeah. You just want to be Kevin Smith.
Yeah, that's why I also gained 200 pounds when I left college, because I was like, oh, that's what I'm missing in this.
But now you got to lose it.
I know that. Why do you think I'm drinking a non-alcoholic shit?
Yeah, is it less calories? I don't even know.
It's way less. Molson XL is, I think, 75 or 70 calories, and if you get the Compliments brand, it's only 30.
Oh, PC shopping, man. Blue Label.
That's way to do it.
Blue Label. You can get your better for you chicken nuggets and your better for you non-alcoholic beer. Just makes you feel good. It was probably better not to have the chicken nuggets at all, but
yeah,
we know what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
How was your week of quarantine, man?
Oh, it's getting rough, man. It's getting hard out there for a pimp. It's
for a what?
For a pimp.
Oh, for a pimp. I thought you said fib.
No, for a pimp. Now, how about you? How's your week in quarantine been?
It's been a crappy week weather-wise, which means I'm over my children, right? Like I'm lucky. Like I feel for parents who like live in apartments and stuff. Like we've got like a yard and stuff, and they haven't been out in it in 4 days, and I want to just leave them for the neighbors to deal with. Like I'm over it, but hopefully it'll be nice soon. I don't know. It's weird, right? Like this whole thing is just so grindingly weird. Like everyone goes, well, we can handle it for a little while, but there's no like there's fake light at the end of the tunnel. Like for you and I, there's no comedy light at the end of the tunnel.
There's no light at the end of the tunnel as far as the only light at the end of the tunnel is the train heading our direction.
Yeah, coming at us, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and then like there's already talk coming up about how even if things do let up in like the fall, there could be a resurgence. You're like, sweet, that's what I need to hear. Like I'm considering turning off the news. Like I'm over it. Like
I can't watch it anymore.
But my dad has CNN on all the time, right? And he has his own apartment, like his own house basically with us. But like if I go down there, CNN is on for sure. So even if you're down there for 2 minutes, you're like, wow, you found out something that is fucking infuriating.
Like, you know what though? See, what he's got to do is change to local news, because my parents are big. I'm at my parents' house right now, and they're big on CH. Local news.
Hamilton.
Yeah, and they do like, hey, here's a video of a dog and some cats. You won't believe what happens. Oh,
Facebook already gives me America's Funniest Home Video clips all the time because I love watching people fall down.
Yeah, they had that too. They had a bunch of toddlers not being able to exit a tent. Hilarious.
Oh yeah, there was 5 of them. I saw that video. I saw that video.
It's a great video. See,
Facebook
that's the
knows
kind of
my
news
sense
you
of
need on
humor.
CH.
I just get it on Facebook. Like I click the little video button and it just gone for 45 minutes.
I've got on Instagram, one of those like scammy, like sexy ladies hit me up. So I was like,
I got one on Facebook today. Go on.
I started talking back because I was like, oh, let's see. I wanted to see how long it could go.
No, you want to see if you can get a picture or two. You know,
I've
it's not
gotten,
real,
like,
but it doesn't matter.
I've gotten like 3, and she still hasn't hit me up for money. I'm like, you're bad at this. Like,
you have one job.
you have one job, and that's to get me, like, to scam me out of some sort of. You haven't even asked. Like, you're terrible at that. I almost want to be like, okay, listen, we both know that
what this is.
What this is. Like, you might as well. We're not best friends, as you claim. Let's just cut to the chase. How much do you want, and what am I going to get out of it?
Yeah. And, well, yeah. Well, it's kind of like when they call, like, the air duct cleaning or they're going to fix your virus. Sometimes you just want to talk. So you let them go. Let them do their thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And she seems like a nice Eastern European lady. She really does. Or man pretending to be a lady.
So in hilarious fashion, I screwed up the title board last week. We discussed runner-up versus runners-up, or runner-ups versus runners-up, and I did the opposite on the title board. So now we just don't know. We'll call it both. Let's just rock with both.
Let's do it.
But we're excited. I got my buddy on. He's coming on in a few minutes, Scott Saccary. Co-owner of New Scotland Clothing, New Scotland Brewery. He's been to the Briar as a participant, the Canadian Curling Championships. I knew him since he was 15 or 16 when I first met Scotty, when I lived out in Nova Scotia. So we're going to have him on. We now have confirmed Lauren Williams, a friend of mine from high school, professional wrestler, Angelina Love. And now you just, we were texting today and you said we've got Taylor Beck confirmed.
Confirmed.
So that's a former NHLer, KHLer, OHLer,
AHLer, all the
AHL, all the L's.
All the L's.
All the hockey leagues. He's played in all the hockey leagues. So that's going to be pretty cool because he's going to have a unique point of view on hockey everywhere, literally everywhere, which will be kind of cool. And so we got a few good weeks, but I say let's get to Scotty.
Let's do it.
Let's rock and roll. All right. Welcome back to the runners-up or runner-ups. Mitch, come on.
Still a coin toss.
It doesn't matter. We're here with Scott Saccary, a buddy of mine from 2000, 2001. I met you in 2000 when I moved to Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
You were like 15. We curled together, and then I moved back to Ontario, and you've done a lot of cool shit since then. You own a clothing company, a microbrewery. You've been to the Briar a bunch of times. You're supposed to be there again this year. That sucks.
Yeah.
Or no, yeah.
We were there.
No, you did go. Yeah, I was just thinking I can't remember when the pandemic started anymore.
We just got it in just in time, actually.
Yeah. So you've been doing some awesome stuff. So just first things first, thanks for coming on and talking to me, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Same as you. I've been watching a bunch of your comedy shows, and you've been doing a bunch of great stuff with announcing and following the sports and all that. So I've been keeping in touch with you as well. So congrats on all that success.
Yeah, Facebook. You just
Facebook
creep people's lives.
I know. We got to get you out here for a comedy tour.
Yeah, I want to get out. I got to get out to see some of my buddies in Nova Scotia again. But yeah, and then get to your brewery and do a little show. That would be wicked.
Totally, man.
And I'll bring Mitch. He can drive.
100%.
There you go.
So for people that don't know, I used to curl. Scott still does and still does well. So when we were young, we went to nationals together for Nova Scotia. We went to the Canadian Championships and didn't do great. I think you guys did better the year after, didn't you?
I think, we're respectable for an East Coast team. We're
6 and 6. Yeah, when I went with you, it was
500.
Yeah. What'd you do the next year though?
Well, we didn't do as good. We did 5
Oh, really?
7. Yeah. So
I still think we could have done better too. But listen, look at this bad boy, Mitch. You're about to lose your mind because A, Scott's 12, and B, I have a lot of hair. I don't even know if you're gonna be able to see this thing.
Oh man, look at that.
I went through the old box. So that's
me on geez, it took me a while to recognize you.
Yeah, both of us, yeah. And then Kev's brother and dad are in there, or Scott's brother and dad are in there. The whole article's about Corey though, so we don't need to read it.
Yeah, it must be a churro paper.
Yeah, churro.
Corey
paper.
Looks the exact same though, by the way.
Who? Sorry?
Corey looks the exact same. He hasn't changed.
Yeah. Do you see him often or no?
You know what? Him and I were jamming in a band. We played a bunch of gigs there last summer. There's a little music festival tour, I guess, in around Nova Scotia last year. So he's a bass player. So that was pretty cool to kind of reunite.
I didn't even add that into the list of shit you do. But you've got like all the music. You can see the guitar back there. You've got all the music gear. You're like, so you're also a musician because why not?
Well, it'd be nice if I just maybe put all that time into one thing and to be really good at it rather than like okay at a bunch of shit.
Yeah, that's preach, buddy. That's my life too. Yeah. Be average at all the things instead of being really good at something. But like Mitch and I are real runners up. Like that's why we called it this, because we come second in everything.
Something our wives are grateful for.
That a boy. Yeah. Nice little sex pun. Started off strong. But you've like you guys have had like quite a bit of success. How did all this start? Like how does someone decide one day, you know what? I sell clothes now.
Yeah, man, it's been a fun journey. Like I was working full time in a company, construction company. Kev was working full time in another company, and I ended up doing like a leave of absence after a long time relationship. I decided to just kind of quit work and go on a journey, and I went on a 6-8 month travel around New Zealand, Australia, Asia, and all that stuff for myself. And when I was on the journeys, I kind of came across a whole bunch of people that were just doing like cool stuff from their laptops and doing work from their laptops and being entrepreneurs on the road, and just kind of was like, oh man, you can actually be successful and be able to go swimming in tropical waters like every day. And so I was kind of got intrigued by that and figured when I got home, I was like telling my brother, I was like, man, we should try to do something. Like, I don't know what, but let's try to do something. And Kev was like, man, I've been thinking the same thing too. So we just got together over a few beers and we're like, all right, let's like, what are we good at? We're like, well, I don't know. We know a lot of stuff about curling and we've done well in curling. And we're like, all right, well, how can we like kind of use that to leverage a business idea? So we're like, all right, curling. And we're like, what doesn't curling have? And they're like, well, clothing. Like there's not a whole lot of clothing brands out there that, you know, are curling based. So we're like, all right, well, let's make a clothing company that's based around curling. So we like came up with a logo. It was like New Scotland Curling Company. And we had all this stuff around curling. And then I was like, man, there's only so many curlers in Canada, let alone the world. Like our market's pretty small. So that we just like, I was like, let's make a cool clothing company that, you know, can connect to the curling world, but necessarily isn't just necessarily focused on curling. So anyways, we kind of dropped the curling. We came with New Scotland, that was Nova Scotia clothing company. So then we injected like the lion logo, and I don't know, just kind of all started from there, like in Kev's basement. And we started laying out like t-shirts and like printing off pieces of paper on his pool table and like taping like different logos to shirts and hats. And we were just kind of messing around with it all and over some beers. And then we were curling on the same team at the time. Actually, it was like 2014, the curling season. We went to Charlevoix. There's a big bonspiel in Charlevoix there. So we were up there. We got like 5 hoodies printed with like the lion and New Scotland on there. And we like took them up with us and we sold them all up there. And then we're like, oh man, we got to get some more. So we like bought more and sold more. And then like we had a bunch of people from our curling community that were looking. We were like getting emails and calls, and Kev's the techie guy, so he set up the website, and all of a sudden we had a business and a brand, and then we kind of started from there, and it was kind of cool. We were just doing our thing, and then we took it to the next step, and we ended up getting like a shop downtown Dartmouth, is where we live in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. And
you got like a few shops.
Yeah. So now, like, I don't know, a few years later, like we both left our jobs and we like started doing this full time. We guess we kind of all went in, all in. And then, we opened up a shop on the waterfront in Halifax, and we have a shop in downtown Dartmouth, and then got our online store. And then we had a few shops around Christmas time in the malls. And
you had one at the airport too.
Yeah, airport shop. And we ended up closing that one down. There was a bunch of construction happening. We kept getting moved around, but it's all over now. So we're actually thinking about going.
But
back.
like, that's great. Like what you just said was, I went on a trip, decided, fuck it, I can do this, and then started a company with multiple stores. Like, that's bananas to think about, man.
I guess, and it's kind of crazy to think that was 2014 and now it's 2020, and man,
yeah, we're old, dude.
Yeah.
That's a lot for 6 years, though. For 6 years, that's insane growth to go from being on a beach 6 years ago to having multiple outlets. Like, that's crazy impressive. What I'm curious about is the one thing I do know about curling is, of course, you're all heavy drinkers. So how do you transition into beer with the same brand as your clothing company?
Oh, it just makes it very easy then.
It's true though.
Well, there's one thing about the curling community, and DJ knows, they're so like, the curling community is such a massive, I mean, here's a sign of it right now. We're talking on Zoom over your podcast, like, cause we know each other from curling. It's like, I was on a Zoom call there last week with a bunch of friends across the country and in America, like talking on Zoom because we're just friends that curl together. Like the curling community is an amazing group of people that support each other and everything. So that's how, I mean, we owe it all to them to get us off the ground. Really, they were the ones that supported us from the start. And we were just sitting there like at a bar one day. Kevin and I, we spend a lot of time in bars, but we were looking at like a tap wall in front of us, and we're like wearing our shirts. And we're like, man, it'd be cool to like have that brand on a tap handle. And we're like, yeah. So we don't know anything about making beer, but we figure we're pretty good at like knowing business and the branding and all that, and drinking it. Quality control. So anyways, we just we found one of our buddies kind of randomly that Kev worked with, like in the IT world, and he was a hobby kind of brew guy that lived in Cape Breton growing up. He's been brewing beer since he was like 10 years old. His dad
in his closet.
Yeah. So anyways, he's a beer wizard. So we teamed up with him. We're like, we'll bring the brand, you bring the brews, and let's team up. And we started that in 2018 down the street around the corner, and now it's crazy. Now it's 2020 and I get all the beer I want.
That is, you're right though about the curling community, and that it's a unique thing. Like I would, Mitch, for you, because you don't curl, obviously. No. It would be very similar to certain aspects of the comedy community. Like the curling community was, so you'd go on the ice for 2.5 hours and hate 4 people, and then you would go drink beers and love them the second the game was over, right? Like you wanted to win, and you wanted to beat these 4 people so bad. But then as soon as it was done, that was over. Like, you win or lose, but now you want to hang out with them because they're curlers and we've got that thing in common. And I still talk to curlers from all over, Ontario and the East Coast and everywhere in between, from back when I was a kid. We're still on Facebook together or Instagram or whatever. You go to Spiels and you meet people. Actually, now that I think of it, Scotty, we started playing together in 2000, but we met at, don't make fun of me right now, Mitch, curling camp before that.
That's right, man.
Yeah, because you guys came down to the Ontario curling camp.
Trillium.
Yeah, Trillium, which I've coached at a few times since then now.
That's funny, man. I was laying around earlier just thinking, I was like thinking about DJ, and I was like thinking about like the times we had, and I kind of totally forgot about how we met and like how we were at that camp together.
Yeah, me and your brother really like hit it off, and like we were just buddies. But yeah, I never thought we'd play together. It's just the whole world, the way things work is just, I don't know, like how do you explain it? Like things just happen sometimes. And it kind of feels like that's your story. Either you're underplaying your story hardcore, or like that's just like your philosophy now. You're just like, I'm going to just try some things and see if it happens.
Yeah, I've been like lucky, man. I mean, everything seems to be rolling my way, but like I truly, not to get all philosophical, but like it's mindset is such a powerful thing for me. Like, I don't know, I just try to do everything, in a positive way, and treat everyone the same, and karma kind of follows you around. And I don't know, I've always had that mindset. I don't know how. I mean, probably from a great upbringing and good family roots and everything, and so I owe it to them. But yeah, I just like, and the traveling is huge too. Like the amount of stuff I learned just from going out and being on my own, and at a young age, and meeting people from around the world and different cultures and people from different families and upbringings. And I don't know, you just sit around, you learn as much as you can, you ask as many questions, and surround yourself with like the best people, and try to learn every day. And I don't know, it just kind of, I don't know. That's how I try to live my life, and it seems to work out for me. And yeah, I just grateful for all the people who are in my life, and I got an amazing wife that's supportive, and parents, and I got a little one now, so things are probably going to change a bit, so I might not have time to do all the things that I enjoy doing, but it's all for good cause.
Do you find it, well, I guess it's brand new, right? And nothing's really happened, but like, are you still planning on, like, you're running multiple businesses, doing some music stuff. Are you still going to curl competitively?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, curling's been like a part of my life since, a very young age. And if I left curling, it would be like it'd be like saying bye to like a best friend or something. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't just leave it after it's been such a important part of your life. I know I picture myself like giving back through coaching and like through stuff like that at some point when I can't like sweep anymore. But like, I don't know, for right now, like, I don't know, Jerry, my wife, is super supportive, and she loves that I curl and loves the community as well. And we're all great friends. And she was lucky enough to be around when we won and we're at the St. John's Briar. She just partied it up for like 15 days straight and enjoyed it. So like the Briar's in Kelowna next year, so she really wants to go there. Never been to
it's BC, a family trip.
Yeah, totally.
But it is, I mean, I've never been as an athlete, obviously, but it's a gong show. Like, it's bananas behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, the patch is just classic. Like, so much fun. Just,
yeah.
And like, just, yeah, the people that are there, and everyone's just wearing their like provincial colors and supporting and hooting and hollering. It's just like an excuse to get on her for a week, no matter who you are or how old you are. Everyone just gets together and parties, and that's another reason why the curling community is amazing.
Mitch, just so you know, the Briar Patch, wherever the Briar is, the Briar Patch is the bar.
Oh, thank you. I was curious what that was.
Yeah.
Typically, multiple thousand people. Like, it's just like an empty arena that they turn into a bar, or where like it's usually attached to the rink, like wherever the curling's taking place. There's usually a bridge or like a conference center nearby that they can, and it's just, I don't even know how to describe it, because it's like the bar you want to exist where you live, because there's no 20-year-olds. It's all like 30-year-olds getting at it. Like, it's all people that are like more or less put together, except for this week and a half that they're at the Briar.
Nice.
Yeah. But so like you get to be a rock star for that week and a half because you're a participant.
Yeah, man, it's like there's one thing to represent your province and, you know, be out playing and in front of a bunch of people. But yeah, just like walking around it, like downtown, going to a restaurant, people are like giving you high fives and rooting for you, especially being like a underdog from the East Coast. I don't know. People seem to like cheering for the underdog. So it's always a lot of fun. Like, we know we're not going to, I shouldn't say that because you could try to win every game, but deep down, we know we're not going to be, you know, winning against like Gushu in the final or something.
You have to go on a
goal is to
like
get
streak.
like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Our goal is these days, like, there's a lot of professional curlers out there that's all they do is curl, and they get, you know, they're on the slam and the tour and they're doing all this stuff. But, you know, we're doing some of that, but we're not, you know, doing all of that. So in order to get to the top, we'd have to quit our jobs and leave our families and be away every weekend. So, I mean, it's a lot of fun to be able to go away and be in that mix and still go out and win some games. Like, you know, we finished middle of the pack a couple of years there, and, you know, feeling like you're in most of the games is pretty fun, and the crowds and stuff. But yeah, it's a cool experience, and it's something that I've always wanted to do and be a part of, and to be able to go and represent my province is just amazing. I don't know. I'd really want to. It's addictive. I want to keep going and get back. Like Paul on my Paul Fleming. He just got into his 50s, and he's like a legend when you go there. Like, just following him around is hilarious because like he knows every generation of every curler, and like, you know, it's pretty cool to be able to play with him and experience the Briar Patch, following him around.
And you're playing with Jamie Murphy, right? Skipping still? Yeah. I think we played against him when we were kids.
Oh yeah, we lost against him I remember my brother had a draw to the 12-foot to beat him in an extra end. And
that's right.
The hack.
Yeah, I actually do remember that. No one else is going to care about that story, but I actually do remember that. He absolutely did. So what's next now then, man? Like, you're crushing everything right now. Or you just like ride the wave, or what?
Yeah, man. I mean, just, I don't know. It's hard
to wine. I live in Niagara. I can hook you up with some wine people.
I would like truly to get the beer outside of Nova Scotia is like a next step for us for sure.
How does that even work? I don't even know how that works.
To be honest, I don't really know either. But we're like shipping some stuff here and there, but we're not like exporting by any means. I ship you some stuff. I don't even know if it's legal or not, but
it's right here. It's amazing.
Take that off the minutes.
It's pretty good. I honestly, legit, I normally don't drink during the week. Like, I try to keep it together because I like the sauce a little. So during the week I don't, but even Amber was like, you got to drink the beer while Scotty's on the Zoom call. You got to have you have to have a New Scotland beer. But
yeah, I mean, during these times, man, like, holy smokes, I've just been going down there every night and grabbing a fist, like an armful of cans, and just, yeah, this like whole pandemic I'm really working on my dad bod right now.
It's real, right?
Yeah. So
same with Mitch. Mitch is working on his dad bod.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Got one of those little trampolines over here to do that.
What?
I got one of those little trampolines over here. That's what I've been using to work on it. Get
like
the
one
weight
of the kid ones?
Down. Yeah.
There you go.
80s exercise tramps.
What kind of beer you got going there, Mitch?
Molson XL. I'm not drinking right now, so this is near beer. Yeah.
He's trying to lose the dad bod. It's less calories. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
You gotta. Sometimes you gotta just be thin.
So are you guys teaming up and doing some stand up?
Well, we've done a lot so Mitch and I met through like last year when I got into that Niagara's Top Comic competition. We both lost in the finals.
Oh shit.
And that's how we met each other.
It's a good time.
And that's why it's called the Runners Up.
The Runners Up. There we go.
And then we were both on this year's contest. Mitch had already gotten through. You had already gotten through to the
Yeah.
semis, right? Yeah, and I had gotten through to the semis, but then the whole contest got shut down.
Right. Because
so yeah,
of
we've done
the stuff going on.
Yeah,
Pardon?
because of COVID.
Yeah.
Shit. So we've done tons of shows together, eh? Like
We really have. We've been all over.
Yeah, anywhere around here that's drivable, we'll go, right? It's weird because for comedy, like especially as you're trying to get going, you're not Jerry D or Brent Butt. You're I'll drive an hour 45 for 7 minutes. Like you get 7 minutes on the microphone and you've driven an hour 45 each way. But that's the way it is, right? You just got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, man. You're not doing it for fortune or
nothing. For nothing.
No.
$0
because it's like it's something that you want to do.
It's it's wicked.
It's just fun and it's about the community. Like you met Mitch and you guys are good pals now. Like,
well, and there's tons of guys like so Dave, who we talked on the podcast last week. He runs Niagara Comedy basically in terms of the big contests. We should get Mark on actually, who owns the comedy club in Niagara. He's awesome for all the local comedians. But yeah, it's the same thing. It's weird though because it's like, Mitch, you can speak to this too. It's a weird group of people. Like it's not
it's
like it's a super
all circles of life kind of thing.
Yeah, like
we got professionals, we got degenerates, and everything in between. Just a bizarre bunch.
Yeah, we've been doing at the brewery, so we're like, I don't know, it's not a big spot. We got 60 is our capacity, 60 people. It's a little bar, like we got our tap wall.
But tight for comedy is better than big.
Yeah, that's true. It's like cozy.
Yeah, and that's wick. And so you've been doing comedy?
Yeah, so like we got mostly music, but we've been doing comedy, and like the comedy nights are awesome. The group of guys that come out, group of guys and girls, like there's usually like 5 or 6 or 7 comics that come out, and they're all, like you said, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, and with a headliner.
Yep.
And it's like there's some of the best nights. There's hilarious, and the group, they stay around afterwards and drink and shoot the shit. And so, like you said, it's similar to like that curling community vibe. Everyone's
I mean,
tight, and you're doing it for the fun.
I think humans, like people, just want community. Like they want a group of people that they connect with. And if you find that through a sport like curling, or you find that through a group of people that tell jokes into a microphone, like whatever, you just find your thing, whatever your thing is, right? Like, or with you, it's all the things, right? It's music, it's a brewery, it's curling, right? Like you find your thing and you find your community, and those are your people, right? And you just love hanging out with them.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's definitely it's all about community, man. I mean, you like sit around after and you tell jokes and stories and have a few beers, and then you go off, and then you come back again, you do another show, and you create more stories every time you get together. Or
you tell the same stories because you forgot you told them last time.
And you still laugh and like drink and have cheers over it. So
for me, for sure, that's part of it. Like I love like comedy's a little bit, sports and comedy are very similar in that you get that like immediate reaction, right? Like you get your win-loss, and then you get to talk to your buddies about your win or your loss, right?
Right.
So like curling, you play the game and I missed that draw to the 4-foot in the second end. That was garbage, whatever. Comedy, you're like, that joke didn't fucking work at all. What did I do there? So it's like super similar. Like Mitch, how many times have we sat after and been like, I think you said that you the way you just talked differently. You didn't have it when you said that joke, or you really got him with this one this time, right? So now that you say that, it's like a super similar scenario.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's all about the community. I mean, the thing you do is just a platform for the community, I guess.
Yeah, it's an excuse to hang out.
Yeah, totally.
Softball exists for a reason.
What's Amber think of the comedy? Did she get out?
She doesn't think I'm funny.
No, just funny looking.
Yeah, exactly. No, she doesn't. She's supportive, right?
You came
Just
to your
like,
wet.
huh?
Sorry. I was gonna say I jumped the gun there. What's in this beer, anyways?
Who made this shit?
Yeah.
No, she's super supportive, right? Like, you have to, when you're doing anything like this, you have to have some sort of support system, right? Because it's so many nights away, right?
Yeah.
Like, multiple nights curling for you or working at the brewery. You know, Mitch, you and I, it's getting in a car and driving to Brantford twice a week or whatever it is. She gets frustrated because she's a human and we have 2 kids and a bunch of shit going on. So obviously, just like anyone, she'd be like, it'd be helpful sometimes if you didn't fuck off 4 days a week. But it like you have to have that support system. Who knows? Maybe one of us will make it someday, right? Like you're the one who's like, yeah, well, I'm fucking off to my multiple businesses that pay for this house. So
I don't know about that. She's a permanent teacher with a
there it is
pension. So
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, she's the retirement plan.
Yeah. Although we're both pulling Pogey right now because she's on mat leave and I'm on
Right,
friggin' whatever the hell it's called, SEBA.
CRB, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be tough with all the like small business. So like I'm lucky, my main gig, I'm fine. Mitch, you're off too, right? So
I'm off. Yeah.
yeah, so like that's got to be tough with all of a sudden all of your stuff just shuts down, right?
Yeah, I mean, like the clothing shop. I mean, we shut down, laid off our folks. You know, we rely like totally on tourism, especially in Halifax. Like we have our shops on the waterfront, right next to the cruise ship here. There's like 350,000 people that roll in just on the cruise ships alone, and that's probably not happening. So, I mean, I'm not like the whole city's going to be. I mean, the whole world's affected by it. So I don't like talking about it or complaining about it, but it's just crazy what it can do to a community and society, just this whole thing. But yeah, I mean, we shut down. Luckily, to live in Canada, we're lucky to be able to have these programs in place to help businesses survive through these times. I was on a call there. I have some friends down in Cape Town in South Africa, and they're on like a full-on lockdown. Like they're not allowed to do anything. You can't even. All the booze stores are closed. Like,
really,
you can't go buy a pack of smokes. Like everything's shut down, and like you have to show proof that you're going out only for groceries or for like medical supplies, or else like you get thrown in jail. Like it's pretty wild.
Imagine, like, I mean, I've never smoked, but imagine like, hey, you just quit smoking and you're hanging out with your family and not leaving. That sounds like an awful setup.
Yeah, I know. Like terrible. It's like you're going like instantly into rehab, like in your own house, and you can't like go buy booze or buy smokes. I mean, we joke about it. That's a big problem, like addiction wise for people. Like totally. I don't know what it's like in Ontario, but like our premier was on one of the updates, addressing the province, saying we're going to leave the liquor stores open because it's essential service, and like he's like honestly saying like we're worried about our society here in Nova Scotia if we shut the booze stores down. Like the hospitals will fill up with people that are having issues, because of addictions, and so it's to be in a country that actually shuts it all down would be
rough.
Would be rough. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to think about though, right? Like the thing we just accept in society, and but we're like, we know it's a real problem, but we're not going to do anything about it. And then now that there's like a pandemic, they're like, whoops. Like we still got to just let people do their I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough call, man. Like I've struggled with stuff before, and then like, where's the line between let people be people and like, as a society, we should probably make a decision, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's like the gun debate right now. Not that I want to get all politicky, and I don't really care about guns at all.
Right.
But that's the thing they're saying, like, who gets to decide who gets to do what, right? It's the video game debate of the 80s. It's too violent.
Yeah.
So like you guys are just hanging out then? Is the brewery like still pumping it out?
Yeah, so the clothing shop is basically shut down. We're doing online orders, but our supply chain has been kind of cut. All of our clothing is made in Canada, so we have our suppliers are some in Nova Scotia, some in Toronto, some in Quebec. But a lot of those places have been cut off, and they've been mandated by the government to they're only allowed to make face masks.
Yeah.
Basically, so like, which is great. Like, I don't like that's what they got to do. But for our like supply, we can't order inventory or anything. So we're just kind of selling what we got basically in the shop. And the brewery, we're lucky because people aren't going to work and they don't have anything else to do. So, they're drinking beer,
crushing some craft beer.
Yeah. So we're still, our tap room's closed. Like our main kind of platform is our tap room where people come in, taste the beer, watch live shows, hang out. We're not really a production brewery. We're pumping out, we don't have a canning line or anything. So we're kind of we scrambled to figure out like how to change our business model basically to like put everything in cans rather than in kegs to put through the tap wall. So we like our buddies up the street. There's a brewery literally around the corner. Our buddies, Brightwood Brewing. Actually, the guy who owns that, he's my best buddy. We grew up together. We stood in each other's weddings and everything, which is pretty funny. We both have breweries around the corner from each other. He came by for a
similar likes, similar hobbies.
Yeah. So, anyways, they have a canning line. So, like, a awesome form of showing community. They offered to can our beer for us so we could keep selling it, which is pretty cool. Like, basically, our competitor around the corner offered, their canning line so we could, keep up with demand. So we went up there and did a bunch of canning, and then there's these guys from New Brunswick that have this mobile canning machine. They put it in a trailer and they put it on a truck and they drive down and load it off the truck. And then, so we're able to get them down a couple of times too, to put all our beer in cans so we can sell it at the front door rather than people coming and drinking it in pints out of the tap room wall. So yeah, I mean, we're still kicking, but it's definitely been a challenge.
That's crazy. Like, I love it, but that's crazy. Like a competitor going, yeah, I'll put your stuff in a can for you so that you can survive. Like, I mean, it's cool. And I think it's the same, Mitch, we talk about it all the time. Like you don't have to be in competition with the other comedians. Right. Like if we all succeed, if you succeed, I succeed. Like the rising tide lifts all ships type ideology. Right. So like, it's small little things like that, right? Like just help the guy around the corner succeed. And then like you said at the beginning, right? That karma comes back to you. It'll come back and I love it. Like it's so anti-capitalism, anti-corporate.
Right.
Yeah. It's just help your neighbor. They'll help me later.
Yeah. I think that's why like I've been loving the craft brew industry so much, because it's very, there's like 50, there's a little over 50 breweries in Nova Scotia, which is crazy. And all of them are thriving. Like they're all, well, right now is a little tricky, obviously, for anyone, but before all this happened, like everyone's thriving. And we have a big craft brewers association. We get together for meetings and we do events and we do community brews. We'll go to different breweries and all get together and brew a beer together. And it's just like, it's a cool way to do business because we're all competitors, but we're like working together to build the industry up so more people are drinking craft beer. So that's another community to be involved with, which is cool. Like you get the curling community and, luckily now I'm involved with the craft brewing community and just a positive place to be in. Coming from the construction industry before, like, don't get me wrong, it was great. It was an awesome career and, I'd love where I worked and everything, but it was just so competitive and repetitive. And, it was a hard, like thing to get up and go to work to every day. I felt like I didn't have any purpose, and felt like I was just kind of going through the motion, and everything with there's deadlines here and there. I was just, I don't know. So now having like the craft beer and the clothing, and like being like a Nova Scotia tourism kind of brand that's helping bring awareness to Nova Scotia and all this stuff. It's super rewarding, and lucky to be able to be involved with it, especially with my brother too. It's cool to be in business with your brother and family.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys have always had like you're born and raised in Nova Scotia. You've always had that like hardcore, like Nova Scotia. Like, dude, I'm a transplant. My mom was born in Truro. I visited when I was a kid, and that's the reason I went to university out there, because I was like, I love this place. It's awesome. But I don't think I love it like you and Kev love it. Like, I didn't make a brand around it. Yeah. I definitely I love being in Ontario too. I love where I live. I love the Niagara region. But I don't know if I need to make a company to sell it. Like, you felt the need, or not the need, but the want to like make a brand around it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, lucky enough to be from a place, like another thing when I was traveling too, that made me love home even more. Like you meet a lot of people around the world when you're traveling. A lot of people are like, man, I just couldn't wait to get out of where I'm from, like get away from my home, and this place is way better. And I'm like, this is awesome, but I miss home, and I'm going to be back home, and that's going to be my home base. Like, I'm going to use traveling as a way to, like, experience and learn and figure out some different like cultures and how to do things differently, because it can be a little bit closed-minded here as well, being from a smaller town. So it's like, it's good to be here and like have the community and like, all that, but it's also good to go out and like get a different perspective on how things are done, and then bring them back and share that with your community.
Now, do you find when you travel around, are people aware of Nova Scotia, or like when you go out into all these different places in the world and you're like, oh, I'm from this small island in Canada, are people like, fuck yeah, Halifax, or are they more like, what's that kind of thing? Like, do you find Nova Scotia itself has gained reputation around the world?
Well, yeah, we get the Trailer Park Boys, so
I forgot about them.
Yeah. Oh man, I would say I was actually surprised, like, because I like being out and around and saying where I'm from. People really know where Nova Scotia is, and they know a lot about it, which is surprising to me. I mean, that's generally speaking, but yeah, I mean, it's funny though. Like, I remember we were down. Jerry and I flew back from Australia. We were in LA at a restaurant, and I was talking to the waiter, and he was like, "Where are you from?" I was like, "Nova Scotia." He's like, he was so pumped. He like that because he was like such a massive Trailer Park Boys fan. Like, just got like massive high fives from him, and it was actually kind of hilarious because I was actually able to say that I hung out at Bubbles' house because he just lives like down here, and he's friends with my old boss, and like I went over to his house to quote like a construction job, ended up like staying for a beer, and so I told him that story, and he was just like, oh my god, like he thought like I was like one of the Trailer Park Boys or something. It was pretty funny. So yeah, like and then like a lot of people actually, when I'm like working in my shop like on the waterfront, talking to a lot of the tourists that come here, it's cool to hear a lot of the stories, like why people come to Nova Scotia. And like a lot of people have roots here, and there's a lot of Celtic roots here and stuff as well. Like people, it's interesting to hear like why people travel. Like a lot of people are on missions to find like more information about their last name and their heritage and like all that stuff. So it's kind of cool to hear about that. Like a lot of people travel here for that reason. It was like one of the first landing points from Europe, and so there's a lot of history here, like some of the small like fishing villages and stuff. Like, yeah.
Well, I know like one of the registries in Halifax, is one of the ones that everyone wants for their ancestral stuff, because it, like, the pier is where everyone landed coming from like Europe, right?
Yeah, like the Pier 21.
Yeah.
Where every and then, like, back to curling, like that's like the original route into Canada. Like curling was invented in Scotland and originated through Nova Scotia, and so there's some history there too. And I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's a beautiful province, and love everything that's happening here. And there's a lot of growth happening here too, which is great. Like to see a lot of industry happening. It's funny, like you hear a lot of people say that, like, because like all of the eastern seaboard cities, like New York and Boston, and
Yeah.
a lot of these cities up the East Coast are so huge and major ports and centers for obviously business and shipping and whatnot.
But they didn't get blown in half.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. So the Halifax was a happening spot back early 1900s, like, and then the Halifax explosion happened. And that, like, if that didn't happen, like, I mean, it's speculation, but like I feel like Halifax would be, a large hub. Like maybe it could be like Vancouver. I don't know.
Well, it's still the biggest city in the East.
It is, but it's like a little big city. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Not that, like, I'm happy the way it is. It's a perfect size city, in my opinion. It's like you can go out and do all the things you want to do in a big city. If you want to go downtown, you just like get dropped down on Argyle and like float around at the bars, which DJ knows all about. But you don't have to, like, when you go to a big city, you got to like get in cabs and you got to like plan your whole night out to like, oh, I'm going to be in the East West Side, blah, blah, blah. Like, so like Halifax has all those bars. You don't have to mess around with trying to plan your whole night. You just stumble from spot to spot. And then it's only a $15 cab ride home.
Now, as a Canadian sports fan, I got to know, is there a lot of excitement going on about the CFL coming to Atlantic Canada for the first time in a long time?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, I listen to it on the radio and stuff, but I'm not totally up on all the politics and ins and outs of it. But I mean,
you'd go for the party.
I would go. I think if, like, I'm a huge believer, if you build it, they will come. Like, I don't know, there's a massive controversy about that Nova Center convention center that was built downtown, and no one wanted it and all this stuff. And now it's like every weekend it's like packed with some sort of convention or bringing new people to Halifax and bringing new business. And it's just, when you have something that provides that platform to like bring tourism in and everything, it just like breeds, I don't know, development. Like,
yeah.
And I don't know, I think it would be a good thing to have.
Have you?
I don't know. I'm not like a massive football player, like, follower, so
you're a curler.
I'm not a massive football player, as you can tell.
Do you, Mitch? Have you been out east?
No, never. My mom's from Dartmouth originally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I've never been out to see where she grew up or anything.
So it's been like, honestly, it's been like 15 years since I've been to PEI a few times because the wife's family lives out there. So like we were there at Christmas, but I haven't been to Halifax proper in like 15 years since a buddy's wedding. Scotty, tell me if it's changed dramatically here, but like the amount of bars and restaurants is insane. So like you need things that are going to bring people in because they're just going to fill up all those bars and restaurants.
Yeah.
Like the bars, the bar scene's crazy. It's really hard to explain to someone who's never been there.
Yeah. Which is like super shitty right now because like,
yeah,
a lot of places are going to go, like the bar and restaurant. We're lucky because we can make beer. Like, we're a bar, but we make our own beer, so we can can it and sell it. But like, yeah, a lot of these places are just totally shut down. And I mean, like I said before, it's the same across the world. So,
yeah, but
I'm really hope that like we don't lose that vibe, like, because of all this, because that's the biggest draw for people. Like anytime you talk to, I don't know, you travel a lot of places else in the world, and it's like you go for the waterfalls or you go for this or that, but like when you come to Halifax, you're there for, I don't know, you're there for the hospitality and a good time. And I mean, there's some, great scenery as well, but I mean, that's, so I just hope we don't lose that. It's like another Halifax explosion. I don't know.
You don't have the falls like we have. That's what you should see.
You got the Niagara Falls.
You should see Niagara Falls. Like it's got to be the similar to Halifax, right? Like, so I work in Niagara Falls. So not every day. I'm working from home a few days a week, but you go down there and it's crazy. It's crazy to see. You drive around and you're like, where am I? Like this is the time of year. I mean, it's shockingly cold right now, but normally this is the time of year that Niagara Falls starts ramping up and has like insane amount of cars. The highway's stupid. And you're just like, it's creepy weird, man. Like, I don't know if Dartmouth and Halifax is like that, but it's weird around here.
Yeah, man. It's a little ghost town right now. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, Ontario is amazing for Nova Scotia because everyone seems to always talk great about, like, there's so many, like having the universities here is huge. Like, guys like yourself coming down and going to school here. Like, I don't know, there's so many people from Ontario that love.
People are shitty sometimes, so they just need a little reprieve with some nice people.
Don't disagree.
I don't know, man. I never met an Ontarian I didn't like.
Because you're at the Briar.
Except for that one guy. No, sure.
It's because you're at the Briar having a good time, or they're like curlers, so you've got that commonality. No, I mean, everyone everywhere's got their issues, right? Ontario, just, I find, I don't know, Mitch, you've lived in Quebec and Ontario, so you can tell me if this speaks true for Quebec to Ontario too. I just find there's so many people in Ontario that there's just dicks, just because, like, math.
There's dicks in like if you go to Northern Ontario, I find people aren't quite dicky. Because if you're in downtown Toronto, you've got the crampedness of the city and everything else just making you a dick. Or if you're in Hamilton, the fact that you're in Hamilton kind of irritates you, so it makes you a bit of a dick.
I think you're just like a product of your surroundings. So if you're like, I don't know, when I was doing those the travel times there, I was like, I spent a bunch of time in Malaysia and around Kuala Lumpur there, and like I was like for instance, driving in traffic, and like the horns are just constantly going. It's like me. It's just like, so when I get back to Halifax, I was driving around, I was just like fucking honking everywhere I go. Like, but that's not a normal thing. So people just think you're like an ass for just honking for like. So then today I was just like waiting at a red light, and this person in front of me, it was turned green. They're sitting there, and I was like, I just wanted to hit that horn so bad, but I was like, no, it wouldn't be very nice to do that. So I'm just gonna wait here. And then I waited like 30 seconds or something.
I would have laid on the horns. Wow. I would have laid on the horns so quick.
So like, oh yeah, I think if you live in around that vibe, the big city vibe, it's just gonna. But the other cool thing about big cities is they like there's these like pockets of communities, which is
cool. Like cool stuff.
Yeah, like I don't know, I was up in Toronto last year, Kensington Market. Yeah, my friends, the Roses live up there, Derek and Steph, and I was up for Curl for Kids. I was curling in the charity Bonspiel. Anyways, I stayed at their place, or they had me over to their area. We went to the Kensington Brewery, which is cool. But that little community within like a massive city is like, it's really cool. There's like, everyone knew each other, and they're just like cruising around, and like, I don't know, it felt like that was like a sense of community in a big city. So it's out there. I guess it's just where you decide to live and find yourself and what kind of vibe you're into and stuff.
For sure, man. And we've kept you for an hour, and I fucking love seeing your face, man. It's been like so long, and it's so cool to just see you and chat with you again. And I love the stories, and I love your sense of community and all that. And it makes so much sense knowing where you came from and where we are. And just thanks for hanging out for an hour, man.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I don't know. I can get on rambling, and then I find it hard to sit here and talk. You guys are asking questions about me. I'd rather sit here and ask questions about you guys, but
we're boring compared to you.
Like, no, you're not at all. I want to
We're
hear
the runners up, and you're the gold medal. Like, you're the winner. You win shit.
I'm the loser of the winners.
My wife made fun of me for putting on this sweater and not my New Scotland sweater. I was like, I'm drinking his beer. I can't wear it all. Pardon?
That'd just be weird.
Yeah.
DJ, who was your buddy? I was trying to think of his name. Big fella. I think he's a Swiss guy. What?
Peaches?
I think so.
Yeah, Adam.
I remember like I was like maybe 16, and like I came and stayed the night with you guys, and like I remember my dad like dropped me off and was probably like, "What the hell am I allowing my son to do? Like go hang out with DJ at like a frat house?" Basically. Yeah.
He would have been my roommate. He lives in the same small town as me in Beamsville, Ontario.
Right.
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah. Him and I were roommates, and Amber and I were dating, and Aaron was Amber's roommate. And so they hooked up, Peach and Aaron.
Right.
And then they moved to Toronto for work. I don't know, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Because they both got jobs in Toronto. And then every weekend they were visiting us in Beamsville. And then they like impulse bought a house one weekend. They're just like, fuck it, we're here every weekend. I was like, we can introduce you to like a realtor. They're like, okay, on like the Friday night. And then on Sunday they owned a house in Beamsville. And now they've lived here forever. She works like they work in town now. Actually, he's went back to school. He's older than me. So he's like 40, 41, and he's in law school right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Peaches.
Adam.
I remember, we just played like video games and smoked weed and
Yep. Tiger Woods golf and smoked weed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would
get picked up the next day. It's like,
yeah. Got to go to high school.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Fuck. I was a bad person.
That was another time. I think this was years after that. I came to Toronto for some reason. I don't know why. You picked me up from somewhere. Like, I remember we went to like, were you living in Orangeville then?
Maybe. I don't even remember this.
Yeah. You like took me to a strip club in Mississauga.
Sounds right. I don't recall, but it's pretty on brand, especially at the time. Yeah, we lived in when I first moved back in like 04, 05. I lived with my parents for a few months, and then Amber and I got a place in Orangeville for like a year and a half before we moved to Niagara. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was either that or it was just a wonderful dream.
I mean, it sounds right. I don't doubt it. It sounds like something I would have done.
Yeah. No, man, it's been I'm just trying to remember some of the curling times back in the day, but
well, we only played for a year together.
Yeah. I remember I used to listen to Scooter all the time before games. Used to listen to some like German techno group and just like get fired up in the corner.
Mitch he fucking despises. We spend a lot of time in cars together because we drive to shows together a lot. He hates my taste in music completely. Like,
it's god awful. It's an affront to music.
Yeah. We used to make fun of you hard then, and I was like 12 making fun of you when you were like in university.
Yeah, so you were the year we played together, you were like 16 and I was 20, I think.
Yeah.
You might have been 7. No, I think you were 16.
Yeah.
This is the first year you went, and when we went to PI.
You know what? My mom gave me a box of shit the other day, and before we sign off, I just want to show you this.
Hang it up.
Trophy.
Oh, fuck yes.
You got one of these, don't you?
Yeah, somewhere.
One of those bad boys. Is that it?
I don't think I have it. I don't think I have it out. No, I have. Did I show you this though?
Oh yeah.
That's the wall. Yeah.
Nice. Sweet.
You've got like 7 of those jackets, dickhead.
Yeah.
How many juniors did you go to? Like 4?
I went just 2.
Just
you guys, and then
next year with Kev, right?
Yeah.
You didn't go after that.
No. Kev aged out, and I skipped the year after, and it didn't even make the playoffs. So
fucking brutal, Scotty. Come on. You're fucking waste.
Fucking get your shit together.
Yeah. For real, dude. This has been so much fun, man.
Yeah, well, you guys need to, once this is all over, come out to Nova Scotia, and we'll get you a place to stay, and we'll get you some gigs. Like, that'd be awesome.
I'm fucking in. I'll drive my car. I'll take a few days off work, and I'll drive my car.
Well,
done
deal.
Right
so
on,
what's
buddy.
I don't know if I did this correctly or whatever. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just
this?
Yeah,
you did.
Yeah, did I do it good.
Yeah, it's not, dude. It's not TV. You just talk. Like cool. That's why the internet's wicked.
So that's all you do.
Yeah, you just
that's
talk.
it.
Sweet.
Shoot the shit. Me and you kind of took over because we fucking like.
Yeah, sorry, Mitch.
20 years.
It was entertaining for me.
I want to hear a couple. I want Mitch to say a couple things.
Mitch has stories, man. Mitch has stories.
So I used to live in northern Quebec, a town called Val d'Or.
Oh yeah.
And a buddy of mine there was a bouncer at the bar, and I go up to this chick, and she spoke English, and I was all proud because I can't speak French, so I never got any ladies at all when I was up north. And this guy, my friend's all excited, and
he's blaming his lack of French for that.
Yeah, not everything else. And my buddy's all excited. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna have sex with her tonight. You're gonna fuck her tonight." I was like, "Why do you think so?" He's like, "Cause I know her. She's a hooker, but she likes you. You get to fuck her for free." And this was his way of trying to sell the whole experience to me. So yeah, I got some stories. I got a little bit of stories. I'm saving that one from the pod. We're gonna cut that out, but that's just for you, Scott.
Oh yeah, we've already finished. We've got the exit. We're all of the stuff about him smoking when he was 16 with me is for sure not going on the internet.
I thought that'd be the preview clip.
I'd like to.
Remember
keep
that time when you made me smoke and I didn't want to, and you said it'd be cool. I won't hang out with you unless you smoke this.
We did. I do remember after we won. I think it was after we won that year. We went back to like Corey's place and like crushed a bunch of beers, like you did too. I think.
Fuck, I can't remember. It was in Churro. It was in Churro.
Yeah, the Provincials was in Churro. Yeah.
I remember you getting all fired up because Kevin wanted to play a shot. And
I still remember that.
Like, no.
I still remember that. And I could tell you the exact shot.
You're like, I was going to lay down on the ice before you fucking threw that shot.
He wanted to play a freeze, and I was like, you're a fucking idiot. And he played a double and made it perfect, or a hit and roll and made it perfect.
Yeah.
And we won because Ted sucked.
Yeah.
I got
Hopefully Ted's not signing on this.
Mitch, you'll like this one too. Scott, you're only kind of in it. I don't even know who the fuck you're talking to, but I look like a stunned cunt. Oh, it's too shiny.
Oh, is that after the...
That's after we won. I had a bunch of other ones, but they're all fuzzy, like because it's like from a handy cam from 2000. Like there's no digital cameras then.
Yeah.
Good times, buddy. Good times.
Well, man, I did a Zoom call like a few weeks ago with some friends. There was like 20 fucking blocks on here, and
that's so hard.
Yeah, like we stayed up. It was actually all the Curl for Kids. I've been like lucky enough to be a part of that. That's super fun. anyways, it was supposed to happen a couple weeks ago, but it obviously isn't. So we all did like a call together, and it was all the skips and all the people on here, and we stayed up till like 5 a.m. drinking and talking and shit on this Zoom thing. So
you're a dad now, man.
Hey,
you're a dad now. The kids don't give a shit about anything you do. They're up.
Yeah, I know. Can't you tell?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, there's been not much sleeping going on in the past. But like all of this pandemic shit, like the negative side of things, there's like a massive positive that like I get to, like Jerry and I laid in bed with coffee until 11 a.m. on a Monday today, like just hanging out with our little kid. Like if I was working, like I would be missing all these cool little things that happen like throughout the day.
Little moments, right?
Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna shut up so you guys can.
Well, I gotta go because I'm old and it's late for me.
Yeah, we just ended there.
Yeah,
done.
Scotty, thanks, buddy.
And then how about the? No, joking.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Nice to see you, Mitch.
Nice to meet you.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.